Hello everyone, welcome back to this amazing lecture. So, let us quickly, revise what we had done in the previous lectures. In the previous lecture, we had understood how to set a path, right? How to compile a Java program. We also understood what variables are. And then today we had to wind up variable and move ahead. Correct? Yes. So before moving forward, I hope whatever we are doing is becoming clear to you, right? Perfect. So let us move ahead with this topic, variable. Yes. So I remember telling you the norms of how you can write the variable name, what should be the variable name, what should not be the variable name, how to start a variable name, and few more details. So let us, let us go a little more deep into that. So if you see, I told you the format of writing a variable is data type. Okay, we have the data type, then we have the variable name. We have the variable name, and this is where we assign the value, right? We assign the value here. Now we have the same variable name, right? And we are assigning the value here. Let us say this is my value. So we had the data type, variable name, and then we had the value. If I need to put this into one single frame, let us say int is my data type, right? A is my variable, A is my variable name, right? And here I am assigning it with a value. So in this section, what I am doing, let us again understand, I am trying to declare a variable here. With what? With the integer data type, right? With the integer data type, which simply means I am assigning this variable. I am saying that this variable A should store integer values. That's what data type does. It defines or declares your variable with what type of variable it is. So here, what type of variable is my A? It is integer type, and hence I can assign any integer value to my variable. So this is what we had learned in the last lectures. Now let us also understand the dynamic way of declaring your variable. So that was what we had learned in the previous lectures. So this lecture will learn about dynamic declaration of a variable. Dynamic declaration of variables. Okay, so let us say I have the general syntax for this is very simple. I have my data type, right? I have my data type. I have my variable name. I have my variable name, and in the same line, I'm assigning it with a value. Okay, I'm assigning it with a value. So this is what my dynamic declaration basically means. If I need to give a synopsis to all of you or an example, let us say the data type that I have is int. Okay, let us say the variable name that I have is A, and here I am storing the value 10 in it. So you can also do this in a single line. You can write int A is equal to 10. This is called a dynamic declaration into your variable. Why is it called dynamic declaration? Is because in the single line, what are you doing? You're declaring also, right? You're declaring in the same line with the data type of that particular variable, and after that you're storing the value in that particular variable in the declaration line itself. That's why we call it dynamic declaration of this particular variable. Okay, dynamic declaration of this particular variable. Now you can also do one thing. In a single line, you can actually create a lot of variables. Let us say int A is equals to 10, then I just give a comma, B is equals to 5, I give a comma, C is equals to 20, and a semicolon. So what is happening? Here I am declaring in a single line, I am declaring three variables. I am declaring three variables in a single line and assigning them with some values. So this is also what you can do, and these are the features of dynamic declaration of a variable. You can declare your variables dynamically, and you can assign them values. Different data types you can write in different lines and assign them with multiple values as much as you want, and you can declare as much as variables you want and assign them with values. So this is how we did the dynamic declaration of our variables, right? So that is what is called dynamic declaration of a variable. Now let us understand one thing. Okay, let us understand one thing. Let us say this is maths, and let us say this is Java, or any other programming language, to be specific. Okay, any other programming language. Okay, let us say this is Java and this is maths. Now in maths, if I say, okay, let us say A is equal to 10, okay, and B is equal to 10 and A equal to B, okay. In maths, if I say this, I simply mean to say my A is equal to my B, my mathematical expression A is equal to B, right? So what this equal to in maths do? In maths, this equal to checks if both the values are equal. It says that yes, both the value should be equal to each other. It should be equal to each other. But in case of Java or programming languages, this is not true. This is equal to is also called an assignment operator. Okay. Now what does this do is basically, let us say if I have A equal to 10, here I am not saying that my A should be 10 or it should be equal to 10. What I am trying to say is, here whatever value you have in the right hand side sector of your equal to, okay, whatever value you have in the right hand side part of your statement or this declaration or whatever it is, in the right hand side of your equal to sign, okay, assign that value to the variable that is there, or that value should be assigned to whatever it is here, be it A, B, C, D, whatever it is. Okay, so this is not equal to sign in Java programming. This basically is assignment. So what are you doing? You are assigning the value that is on your right hand side to your left hand side. You have to always remember this. Okay, now you might say how to compare two values. For comparing two values, we have double equal to, and we'll be talking about that in the coming lectures. Okay, now this is all about variables that you need to know. This is all about the variables that you need to know. Now when we were talking about variables, we came across a very important term, that is what? Data type, right? That's what data type. So now let us discuss data type in depth and in detail. Okay, yes. So now let us talk about an amazing topic, that is data types. Okay, that is data types. Just remember one amazing flowchart and you're good to go. But before that, you have to also understand one thing. Okay, now whatever you are doing here in the data types or the variables, what are you doing? You are storing some value, right? And you are storing those values somewhere, right? So those values are captured where? In the storage section, somewhere in the storage section. So these programming codes are creating a different storage block for you and storing data there, right? What type of data it is storing is what data types will tell us. So always remember, data types are of two types. Let's bring it here and let's bring it here. Let us say the first one is primitive. Okay, the other one is non-primitive. Now what is the difference between primitive and non-primitive? Something which the systems or the something which system has defined for us is what we call as primitive, as in like int, double, and something that, okay, take character data type, take decimal data type, all of that is system defined, right? So that is what we call as primitive. Now something we create of our own is basically non-primitive. Okay, so in this section we have class, we have string, okay, we have let us say interface, okay, and many more, and many more. We also have objects. Now these are something that the users will create, right? These are something which the users will create. So in primitive we had numeric and we have non-numeric. In the non-numeric section, what do we have? We have two. Okay, in the non-numeric section we have two. Whenever we talk about the non-numeric section, you have to understand non-numeric data types are such data types which does not deal with any numbers. So what are things that doesn't deal with numbers? We have character, right, and we call it char. We have character and we call it char. And then what do we have is, we have boolean. So basically when we talk about boolean, we simply mean to say it can either give two values, either true or either false. Okay, and when we talk about characters, this char data type helps us to store single alphabetical characters or numeric characters in the variable that you are creating it of. Okay, now let's come to the numeric part. And let's see. In numeric we again have two sections. Okay, in numeric we again have two sections. We have integer and we have decimal. Okay, now we all know what integer means and what decimal is, right? We all know what integer is and what decimal is. One full entire number is integer, and fractions we call something that is after a point, as in, let's say if I have 10, this is my integer. If I have 10.5, this is my decimal, right? So that is what it is, integer and decimal. Now integer has four types of data types and decimal has two. Okay, now let us see. So the first one that we have in integer is byte. Okay, the first one is byte. The second one is short. Okay, the second one is short. Then we have int and long. Byte, short, int and long. These are the data types that we have. Okay, and we maximally use int, right? We've been seeing it. And in the decimal section, what do we have? We have float and double. Okay, we have float and we have double. Now these are the entire set of data types that we have basically, okay, that we cater, and that is provided to us, right? Primitive, non-primitive. In non-primitives we have class, we have string, we have interface, we have objects. In primitive we have characters, boolean, byte, short, int, long, float, double, right? This is all the data types that we have. Now string is one such data type which is also non-primitive and which is also primitive. Okay, which is also primitive. How? Because in string it's a different set of topic. We'll be learning that in string. With the help of string, you can take in a lot of variables and put an entire value. So what does string take in? String takes in an entire set of sentence, or multiple characters together is one string, you can say. So here you can just take one character, right? But in string you can take words, sentences and many things. So string is one data type which is features of non-primitive also, which has features of primitive also. Okay, so I hope this is clear to you until now. Now let us get into the detail of what all of this is. Okay, so when I talk about char or non-numeric, okay, this basically takes, okay, this basically takes per character, it takes one character as an input, or as a value. Okay, it takes one character as a value. It helps to take one character as a value. That character can be anything. Okay, takes one character as a value. And when I talk about this character, all these data types have sizes, default sizes created. As I said, it's going to store somewhere, it has default sizes. So this character has 2 bytes. Okay, it has 2 bytes. When we talk about Boolean, right, it either has true or it either has false. So Boolean only requires 1 bit, okay, of default storage. Whenever we talk about this byte, we have 1 byte. Okay, this short has 2 bytes of storage. Okay, int has 4 bytes of storage, and long has 8 bytes of storage. Similarly, if you look at decimal, it has 4 bytes, okay, and it has 8 bytes. Float has 4 bytes and double has 8 bytes. So these are the storages that is by default offered to all your characters and integers and all of that, right? So always remember that. Now Boolean can only take 2 values, either true or either false. It can only reply in 2 ways, either 0, 1 or either true or false, wherein 0 is false and 1 is true. And in this case, byte, it can take integer value, okay, it can take integer value up to certain wavelength or certain numbers, not more. So we'll be sharing you all the details in the screen, how much byte can take. Let us also understand how much short can take, int and long. But maximally what is used is int and long. Maximally in integer type we use int and long, and in decimal type we use double maximally. And whenever it comes of characters, we use string as well, and we use character as well, and Boolean is always there. So this is all about your data types. I hope you are clear with what a data type is now and what data types we will be using. And since we have done the variable, you know how to use a data type.